Hello, 6th grade social studies student. This is Miss Tolman reading through lessons from Miss Halbert, helping you out, helping her out. We are in our Unit 10, Reformation and the Enlightenment, and we are in Lesson 5, Enlightenment and the United States. This is the last lesson in this unit, so it is a good idea to look through your notes before you head on to your practice and unit tests. And it is also a good idea to take notes. The best idea is to take notes as you're going through the video so that you have that knowledge when you're moving forward in the questions as well as quizzes and unit tests. Our vocabulary, we have two. We have delegate, it's a person acting on behalf of others, and a philosophe, an intellectual who put faith in human reason and rejected traditional Christian views. The scientific revolution convinced many Europeans that the reason was the light to discovering the truth about the physical world. The Age of Reason was based on the idea that reason was the light to understanding things that could not be seen. These ideas came together during the Enlightenment period. During the Enlightenment, reason was applied to create new understanding of government and society. John Locke. John Locke was a physician. He placed great emphasis on the senses as a means of obtaining knowledge. He believed that the mind at birth was a tabula rasa, or a blank tablet. The mind processed and recorded experiences that were received through the senses. In simple terms, humans had the built-in ability to make sense of their experiences. Locke's two treatises of the Civil War had been extremely influential on lawmakers in England and the United States. Locke argued that natural law included natural rights. Natural rights could not be stripped or taken away by any king, legislature, or any other person. The U.S. Declaration of Independence calls these unalienable rights. Locke argued that natural law includes the right to life, liberty, and property. Property means more than land. It means one person's ideas and even the right to use property without government interference. To deny a person their natural rights was to go against all that was good. Government laws should protect and not threaten the natural rights of all people. For example, a monarch's desire to rule as he wished was limited by the rights of his subjects. The Philosophers. During the 18th century, there was a group of intellectuals known as the Philosophers. They opposed the classic Christian view of mankind. They put their faith in human reason rather than the authority of the Bible or any religion. The Philosophers believed that the Roman Catholic Church had brought an age of darkness over Europe. Reason could restore it. Voltaire. The leading philosopher was the French philosopher and poet François-Marie Arouet. He was better known as Voltaire. His harsh criticism of the Church and the French government led to his banishment from France. However, other European leaders were happy to receive him. Voltaire was a great proponent of religious tolerance and freedom of the press. Freedom of the press was important. It allowed for the spread of enlightened ideas about the world. While not an advocate of any traditional religion, Voltaire held the deist view of God. His writings on religious tolerance within society remained influential. His views influenced the U.S. Bill of Rights. Montesquieu. Enlightenment thinkers sought out the ideal government. The leading philosopher in the area of political theory was the Frenchman Charles Baron de Montesquieu. Montesquieu had a great admiration for the events of the Glorious Revolution in England. The revolution resulted in the king and the parliament sharing power. Montesquieu believed that this separation of power provided a safeguard to protect natural rights. The system allowed for the greatest freedom without compromising the safety and security of all citizens. The framers of the U.S. Constitution would use Montesquieu's ideas to create new government. Rousseau. Jean-Jacques Rousseau was born in Geneva, Switzerland in 1712. Though a philosopher, he believed that the emotions had a great effect on a person's reasoning. Those who shared this contributed to the literature and art movement of the late 18th century, known as Romanticism. In The Social Contract, Rousseau claimed that the government should reflect the will of the people. This was because it existed only by their consent. Rousseau believed the common man was capable of governing himself. He argued that a democracy opposed to a republic was the best form of government. The Enlightenment and the founding of the United States. In Locke's view, the natural state of the world was good. However, if a government denied natural rights to citizens, then revolution was appropriate, if not necessary. In this respect, the leaders of the American Revolution were influenced by Locke. During the American Revolution, the Second Continental Congress drafted a plan of confederacy for securing freedom, sovereignty, and the independence of the United States. This constitution was known as the Articles of Confederation. On March 1st, 1781, it was officially approved by Congress. It recognized the independence of state governments, but created a weak central government. While this protected individual freedoms, it made unity among the states nearly impossible. In 1787, the states sent delegates to a meeting. It became known as the Constitutional Convention. The delegates discussed various forms of governments. The delegates chose a republic form of government. The people would elect representatives to act for them in the government. On June 21st, 1788, the new Constitution, the United States Constitution, became law of the land. The Constitution divided government between the states' governments and the national government. In order to guard against abuse by the federal government, its power was also divided. Like Great Britain, 3 branches of federal government were established: legislative, executive, and judicial. The legislative branch includes the Senate and House of Representatives. The executive branch was to be headed by the President, and the judicial branch was to be comprised of the federal court system. Then we're moving on to our Bill of Rights. The U.S. Constitution lacked provisions for personal freedoms and rights. The Bill of Rights added 10 amendments protecting personal rights. This included the Bill of Rights, the freedom of speech, the freedom of religion, the right to own a firearm, the freedom to meet in public, and the freedom from unjustified searches and taking of property. The framers of the U.S. Constitution were men from a variety of religious and ideological backgrounds. For example, Samuel Adams and Patrick Henry held firmly to the classic Christian view of mankind. Men like Thomas Jefferson and Ben Franklin were deists who embraced the teachings of enlightenment. While different, these early leaders were convinced that mankind was created by God. He had granted them certain rights. Both Enlightenment and Christian thinkers affirmed the Bill of Rights that government should not dictate one's religion. The government was to allow and protect its free practice. And that is the end of your Lesson 5, as well as the end of your Unit 10. You do have a test coming up, so please, you can review the notes that you've taken, or you can go ahead and go back and watch the videos just to kind of get you ready for that test. You're doing an amazing job. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.